And welcome back to the Community Gameplan. My name's Eric Holman, and my co-host over here is Jim Smartin.
How you doing?
A little bit. But today, I think we're going to try something a little different. Typically we have guests, and we focus really on our community of the Halifax Regional Municipality and business owners. But we also are full-time real estate agents. So we thought we'd do something a little different because, we do use this platform mainly to focus on our community, but, real estate is our community, and that's a big part of what we do and why we started this podcast to begin with. So today, we're going to talk about our market because it is drastically changed in the last year and a half. So Jim, what are you thinking? Where we want to head? What direction you want to go today?
Well,
There's so many different directions we can go.
It is. But like you said, as far as community goes, one of the biggest thing that affects community is housing. And there's been a lot of talk of housing, the people coming in for new contracts, like the potential of that, all the new builds, the new communities. But the real hot topic right now is, and what everybody should be thinking is the value of their home. And it's definitely not like what people are looking to hear. If you're selling your home, buyers are happy. I feel like we're going to deal with one issue seriously, which is the amount of people who are able to afford those first-time homes, like those first-time home buyers who haven't been able to buy. I think this is going to be a change for them, and they're going to be able to get back into the market.
Yeah. So let's dive into that a little bit then. So, because, the numbers say one thing, but realtors are seeing a totally different thing. We're the feet on the ground. So right now, when we were looking at stats earlier, NSAR, so Nova Scotia Association of Realtors, July stats came out. Sales overall, so I'm just talking HRM completely. Actually, this is actually Nova Scotia, all of Nova Scotia stats. So sales were actually down 5.9% in July. Our listing inventory was actually up 12.3%. So that meant inventory for housing was actually up we have up to 5.3 months worth of inventory, meaning that if no new listings came on the market, it would take us roughly 5.3 months to sell that existing listings. So the overall benchmark price in our province has basically flattened. And we also looked a little bit into condo sales because that's still very important. But we're actually showing those are about down 7.8%. So I guess the big question is, what are we actually seeing on the ground? Jim, what are you seeing? You've been out quite a bit with buyers recently, especially in the condo market. But overall, what are you seeing?
Yeah, well, and that's it. Is I've had buyers in the condo market that, to be honest, have started looking at single family homes now as well. And usually, why that happens is because the price of a condo plus the condo fees are not equal to a mortgage for a single family home. They're above it, with, yes, the benefits of not having to do any maintenance, outside maintenance, stuff like that. But at the same time, the full equity is, there's always more equity in owning your own place, your own building, your own land, because that changes for the positive in a higher rate. But what I have been seeing is price drops. Drops over price drops. And that's not what we've been seeing in the last couple of years. Like you said, we've been looking at the stats, and when I'm looking, and we were at an increase of prices year over year, we're starting in a peak point again, usually right before school. There's a small drop, but we've been dropping all summer.
Well,
Summer
since
is
April.
usually
Right?
like,
it's our prices, our average sale price, our average everything has kind of dropped since April.
And that's usually like you mentioned, up, though.
Yeah. You mentioned, like, we when we were looking at the stats, we kind of saw the normal roller coaster starting to start again, or post pandemic. Pandemic was totally different, but prior to that, we always had our ups and downs through the year. Typically, April was the start of our up. Prices would start going up, inventory would start going up, but this April, we saw the difference.
Yeah, and I find, well, even like with the places going up, we were a slow start this year to go up, But like you said, with the inventory we have, things are still selling, which
Yes.
means we have more listings than we have buyers, even though we have quite a few buyers. Like, things are still selling at a very good rate, but it's that we've now hit the point of supply and demand, and where back in, like, we're looking even as far like 2024 post-pandemic stuff, like start at 2023 after everything kind of started making more sense, is as soon as we hit 2024, it was not a lot of listings and people were still paying top dollar and over. We now have a lot of buyers who are paying less than asking price, which we have not seen in quite a while. Definitely not at the point where people have had to lower their prices multiple times to have that happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's even with some listings.
It was funny. I went
What?
on Paragon yesterday morning, mid-morning, and I had that little stat thing there. It says new listings and then price changes, conditional sold, blah, blah, blah. There was 8 new listings when I looked at that time, and there was 12 price reductions prior to 11 a.m. yesterday. Whenever I go on Paragon, I mean, I'm seeing more price reductions than I'm actually seeing new listings coming on the market daily. So that's saying something. Is that saying that, our market has really shifted that much, or is that saying that the listing agents aren't giving the accurate information to their sellers to price properly?
Yeah. And I really, I think it's, I'm going to, I think it's both, because I know for a fact that there are those sellers who don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that the prices went down because somebody else might have told them another number, or they're just like, well, my neighbor got this 6 months ago. But what people aren't realizing is our market's been going down
That whole
since
time.
then. So every time it goes down, it's like, yeah, you could have got this if you listed last year, or if we had it on the early spring market, maybe. But the fact is if they didn't get it in the early spring market, we didn't have that push back up that usually hits in the summer. It
That's right.
kept sloping down.
And that's the thing. I mean, we've seen it, properties that were listed in June or late May, early June are still on the market. Last year in 2025, if you listed in May, you were gone before June. This year it isn't. And again, it is pricing. Buyers are very smart. They understand the market. They watch it just as much as any of us. Unfortunately, sometimes there are realtors that are going in using old information, old stats, old sales information, and not understanding that the market has shifted. So they have to now accommodate that shift of the market with that data. And we've seen it many times.
There's a big, and again, here's the difference. We have seen it, but we have both been realtors in a down market, in a buyer's market at this point. I would have said it was a flat, again, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I've been like, okay, we're a stable market now. But now I'm like, oh, wow, that was a quick transition. We aren't a stable market. But like I said, we've been in this business long enough that we have seen that. But just think of how many agents jumped in after COVID.
Or during.
Or just at the, or that's what I mean, like after the lockdowns, like how many realtors kind of jumped in.
Yeah.
And they've never dealt with like gauging that kind of market, gauging the ups and downs, having to actually do price adjustments.
Having those hard conversations.
Right. And I think this is the first time in a while I've actually had to pull out my price adjustment form that I made years ago, to change the values that were in there, like go in, change what contractor fee, like what it would be new to build something, like replace a window, replace a kitchen, replace a roof, and actually have to take that in account to what I present as like their listing range as far as the market's saying, to actually do direct comparables, not just by street and amount of rooms, and like square footage, but I'm taking in the type of flooring, I'm taking in how well the kitchen is, like the curb appeal, like all of that is now something that's having to come back into the market,
very much.
because even I'm finding it hard. Like when I listed one of my listings, I'm like, well, this is what the street's going for. Let's look. Okay, theirs is better. Let's just drop it what the renovation costs would be.
Right.
Nothing. I had it was, and when it started coming in, it was just people, and that's the other thing. People don't want to pay for something that they have to, like. Yeah, they're getting the price off the house, but they don't want to do the renovations. They want them done when they
Right.
move in. So that's a very
Yeah.
different thing too. Before just lowering a price, say, oh yeah, we'll just lower it, and somebody will use that extra money to fix it themselves. People don't want to do that.
No. We're seeing that too, a shift in the buyer's mentality of what they want and what they expect for a certain price range too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we want to talk about that listing. We went on that listing presentation, told them a number. They ended up
Hmm.
going elsewhere. This other realtor promised them a higher number, and it's funny. I mean, we watch from a distance. We're never gonna be like, there's days I would love to actually say, "I told you so." But guess what? I've been kind of following this listing because I do. That's just how we are sometimes. But they've been on 2 months.
Yeah.
The
And when did we
price,
do that? We did that pretty early on in the spring season.
late spring. Yeah, it was late spring. We
Yeah,
did that
like
home buyer seminar,
home buyer seminar. And that
and
number was based on what we saw
at that
happening.
time, and that was
Yeah,
late spring. Yeah, they didn't go to market till 2 months ago.
which means it didn't
They
stay
missed it.
stable. Like, yeah,
They missed the market, right? Because like we were talking about earlier, late spring was still, prices were still decent. They weren't dropping that bad. But it was late spring onwards, early summer that we started to see the inventory start climbing. So that means more options for buyers. Prices started to drop. Listing prices started to drop. Average days on market started to rise. We've never seen in the last 5 years, it was rare we saw a house on the market for 2 months. And now that's the norm.
yeah, yeah.
Back in
And again,
2007 when
seeing
I started,
100 days, like
yeah,
something's wrong then.
I started in 2007. I mean, the average day on market back then, I mean, I was in Fredericton, so totally different market than HRM, but even then, our average days on market was 300.
Yeah,
You were
yeah,
minimum a year. You never got asking price. It was always lower. And then, fast forward to 2020, we're in the pandemic. Everybody's just throwing money left, right, and center. And now our market is actually starting to, go back to normal. Like we're seeing the normal cycles, the ups and downs, but the unfortunate thing is now we're seeing realtors overpromising, under-delivering, not following stats and not understanding the trends of our market right now. And it's actually, in my mind, disbenefit to sellers.
yeah. And again, there are those occasions where you have the the viewpoint heroes. Again, not the viewpoint as in the company, the viewpoint as in the people who just go to their website, which is a great
Right.
way to track things. Like we all do it, but the ones who believe they know better than the person that they're bringing in to help and advise.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We study the market. Like you said, we've been through the ups and downs. Over decades of in this industry, we've seen them. I've worked New Brunswick market, I've worked Nova Scotia market, so I've seen two different types of trends, and we still follow New Brunswick quite carefully because we
Very
have
carefully, yeah.
partners there, we have sellers that have moved there recently from Dartmouth to New Brunswick. So, it is our closest province to us, and it is something that does affect Nova Scotia as well. So but it is funny. It is heartbreaking to actually see some of this too, and some of the stories I've actually heard from people. It's unfortunate, and
My Yeah, and like with those stories, it's always that tale of, well, if I sell it this after I'm done paying realtor fees, I didn't make any money on my house. which again, you don't hear that from the people who have been living in their homes since they bought them for 139, 140. Those people, you only paid that for it. You bought your house, before the 2020s. You bought your house in, say, 2014, 2015. Like, you're doing well. Like myself, I bought in 2016 and my house went up exponentially, but I've also watched houses on my street sell for less than I could have been refinanced for if I refinanced for full amount at any time be up till now. And like some of them didn't buy until 2022, and you're hearing from them it's like, well, I need to get this, otherwise I'm breaking even at best. And that was again due to a very fast and large increase in price, but also paying whatever you had to get a home, to get that specific home you wanted. And I remember having with a few clients that sit down talk, saying the conversation I had with my wife when we were talking about buying homes and where our price point was and what we could have afforded. We're like, that's great that they'll give us this, but what can we afford if one of us gets sick? If one of us loses our job? If one of us gets hurt? Like, will we have enough to keep our home? And I know I was constantly telling people, like, same thing, like, always take that in account. Like, yeah, you're a two income household right now, but what can you do for a rainy day? Will you save enough on that? Because if so, great. Like, take your top dollar and you still have money saved. But a lot of people were taking their top dollar in an area that the taxes were below national average. The prices were below national average, but all of a sudden, year after year, our taxes are going up. New subdivision comes in, taxes go up. And they're saying, I can't afford my home with the increasing taxes or with the repairs that I need. We've had those big floods in the meantime. And that's the heartbreaking part to me, is seeing people who walked into those issues and are now considering selling their homes and downsizing and aren't going to get the money that they paid for their home, or not enough in their mind to make it worthwhile. Because they wanted that 5% increase. So yeah, the disservice on one side of not following market trends with, and again, sometimes it's people who don't know how to do it. Sometimes it's people who are they're not accustomed to it. But on the other side is, again, I've listed places and I'm like, oh, they'll have no issues getting this. And we've had to sell for less. And it's hard to gauge the market on a downward market, especially when you're like, oh, it's a stable, but it didn't stabilize. It was
It
there,
balanced
and then
for about a week.
it's like, let's go. It's like, we're still good. And then there's that slow drop. Like since you gave stats, I'm just going to pop that up if you're all right with that. Come on, window. I'll just show exactly just the line so people can see what I'm talking about.
Hi there, everyone. This is Future Eric from the future coming to you. Just a quick note, apologize because this is audio and a visual podcast. So if you are listening to this just on the podcast audio version, make sure to jump over to our YouTube, check out the visuals. Up next, Jim's going to be talking about some Nova Scotia Association Realtor stats. We are looking at the rollover of month over month increases and declines of the sale prices across HRM and Nova Scotia. So yes, so apologize in advance for some of the visual stuff that we didn't go too in depth with audio, but we did try to throw some of the information there. So if you do want to see the visuals, make sure to check out our YouTube and our social media channels. Thanks again. See ya.
Like right there. So this is a rolling last 3 years line. So you have all your ups, your downs, your ups, your downs. Like I said before, is generally your April's right there. April 2024 goes up, and then it kind of comes down around school time, slows down, and then again in the spring, April starts going up in 2025. This one here, I'm just rolling on the Halifax. If you just go the entire MLS system, But we'll keep rolling on the Halifax for now. Just so it comes down, goes up in April, flattens out, and then come June, which June is usually like our higher points.
Yeah.
June is the highest point.
Which is your typical, right? With our real estate of real estate throughout the year, the winter months are always slow, but then April, May, June, July are usually our busiest.
Yeah, but
And
look at
then
this.
come end of August, September, we slow. October, November, things typically pick up. But again, we're not seeing that. Like we are
Yeah,
not seeing that right now whatsoever.
and it's a drop. Like this is a significant drop. Like
That is
that's $20,000. Like
in a
between ten
month.
and $20,000 on
Yeah.
all of them in 1 month. And it's if you
Because
looked
June
across the board,
2026, go back up to that
everywhere's doing
Halifax.
it.
So June 2026, Halifax's price was 600, and then go to the next to July.
Yeah, come on, roll. There you go.
July, so in 1 month it dropped 8K. It's 592, 950. Basically dropped 8K. But I
It
mean,
dropped
every
everywhere's
area,
dropping. Yeah,
the entire MLS system of Nova Scotia, but also your four lines of Halifax, Annapolis Valley, and Dartmouth. You see
it's
from
like that
June to
here.
July, all of our prices are down. So yeah, entire MLS is down 0.4%. Halifax is down 1.2%. Annapolis Valley area is
They're
actually
they're actually up.
up
The
7.6%,
so
and Dartmouth
yeah,
was down 2.2%.
from this is all from last year at the same time, which is great for like the Annapolis Valley, but that also shows me people are leaving the city core
Hmm.
to push just outside the city
Right.
to place where they're paying a bit less. Well, look at it. It's 408 for an average sale price there.
Right.
Where everywhere else is like the closest you have will take out the entire MLS. Halifax and Dartmouth, both in the 500s, in
Yeah.
the mid to high, and
540 to
Annapolis
590s.
Valley,
Yeah.
yeah, is 408,
Yeah.
which means you're
And you're paying
getting
higher taxes as well, property
yeah,
taxes in the city than you are outside. Paying for municipal services, where if you're on a well and septic, you're not paying all that extra cost.
yeah. It's just I find it again. It's showing that the one area around the core, which is the valley, which is you're looking at 30 to 45 minutes. You can look to an hour outside, which again, around here, people would originally have said it was a lot. But coming from like, how often do you spend like a half hour in traffic in Halifax? Or like
I mean, I'm
on
in
Portland
Eastern
Street or
Passage. I
like,
When I moved out to Eastern Passage, I had to add 15 minutes on to my travel time just because I know I was coming from the passage. So if I was living in Dartmouth, like where I was before, it was 30 minutes almost anywhere, 45 minutes
yeah.
almost anywhere in
So
HRM.
when you're driving that just to get to the HRM, but you can
Yeah.
get like go to the main points, like you're trying to go to Bears Lake, well, you get off a highway to there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're adding that time. People are driving that anyway. Then you have people from like Toronto or Ottawa or coming from BC who that's nothing. Like that's not traffic. That's just a commute. And that's what it's starting to become for us. It's becoming a commute time. So would you rather commute where you're continuously moving or sitting in traffic going one step, one step, one step? It's like, so people are choosing to leave the core and they're paying less for it. But, and that's the only place that's growing. The only place that's gone up is out of the city, out of city centers. So I don't know, but definitely that stat shows right there that we are not sitting in a buyer's market. We are looking at a downward trend.
Well, we are in a buyer's market then. If we're in the
Or
downward
buyer's market, I
trend,
mean, sorry,
right?
yeah.
Because
We're in a
the
buyer's,
buyers
not a seller's
the
market anymore.
buyers now are starting to have more leverage, right? We're seeing it. We're seeing it not just the fact that buyers are not having to deal with multiple offers anymore, right? Buyers are not having to deal with rush. They don't have 48 hours to make a decision. They actually have 7 to almost 90 days
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make a decision if they want to purchase a particular house or not. Because
Yeah.
houses are
We
sitting.
just had that. Yeah. I've now had that twice. Is it's like, yeah, just put on the SOBP. I know you don't want to,
Yeah,
but
we've been through that. I mean, we have different opinions
you'll
on
get
SO.
bumped. Yeah, so that's a sale of buyer's property, but before that was murder. That killed a deal if one of those were put out there.
But
Now
yes,
people
yeah,
just
in the
want
last
the
4 years,
security.
yeah,
Yeah.
any you could never do a sale, you know, a purchase pending on the sale of a purchase of a buyer's property in the last 4 years. In this year, yes, we can, but say the 4 years, 5 years prior to this, we couldn't.
No,
That was the
it would
norm.
just get passed.
Pre-pandemic, that was the norm. Again,
Very.
like when I got
Hmm.
into real estate, back in the day when the average days was 300 days on market, it was easy. I could
Yeah.
convince people to put an SOBP on anything. Now, or in the last 5 years, you couldn't. This year, we've done it. You and I, we've done it with clients.
I've done it
It
multiple
still is
times
tricky.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's still tricky. We have had multiple, haven't we?
Hmm. Yeah, multiple. And it's been to the point where I've even accepted one because I'm like, worst comes to worst, you have a guaranteed sale through this person once their home sells. And it might be at a higher value than it would have been when their home sells. They might have agreed to pay more than the market was saying at that time 3 months ago. And but like other than that, maybe somebody comes in and scoops it. Well, you didn't have your home sold anyway, so you weren't going to be able to get it.
Yeah, that's right.
But it gives your buyer the security of knowing, okay, we have a place secured while we sell our home. Like, and it's haven't seen it in a while, but like you said, I used to write them. Oh man, I think it was at least half of my deals. At least
Yeah,
half of my deals, at least when I started off in the business, were all subject of sale of property.
yeah. Well, that was the norm back then. I know we did a lot in Fredericton when I started as well, and I found when I moved back here, even pre-pandemic, when I moved back here and got back in, there wasn't a whole lot, right? It wasn't a big thing, but it's starting to come back, I find now. But again, I think it's an education thing, and I think unfortunately, a lot of newer realtors that have never done pre-pandemic markets, have never dealt with that, and don't understand the ins and outs of it and how it can benefit a buyer slash seller.
Yeah, and that's it. It also, I think a lot of people miss that is it actually benefits the seller too. I actually was on a call with one person like, well, we don't want to accept it that long because we don't want to have to take our property. Like my seller doesn't want to take their property off the market, and I'm like,
Hmm.
they don't.
Yeah,
They don't take it off the market at all. It stays. It just says there's an SOBP on it. Like there's that subject clause on it, but it is still on the market. It is still advertised to anybody who wants to view it. If nobody is viewing it, it has nothing to do with the fact they accepted an SOBP. So really, you might be getting from my buyer, like your seller might be getting from my buyer more than they would if they didn't accept it and my buyer decided, you know what? We'll just see if it's still there in a week. We'll see if it's there in 2 months. Because if it's still there in 2 months, we're not going to offer the same price.
that's right. Yeah.
So it's like a security blanket, really now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
But
definitely something to focus more on now for buyers that are well, sellers that are also looking to buy. I mean, I've had quite a few buyers or sellers, sorry, that are downsizing. We've even had co-clients that have sold, but they were downsizing, so they weren't necessarily purchasing something; they were going elsewhere, and we're seeing a little bit more of that too. I'm finding. I think my guess over the next 2 to 3 years, we are going to see more downsizers. We're starting to get to that point now. We're seeing it in the mini home markets, in myself, and condo markets. So, for example, I always notice it when I'm looking through MLS, and we've dealt with mini home parks in the past with buyers and sellers, and you see that every couple of years of one park, well, all of a sudden there's like a ton of listings
mhm.
come up in a park, but that's just because that's that cycle, right? The age cycle, because a lot of times the downsizers go from single families to a condo or a mini home. Once they're done with those, then they go to the the family home or the old age homes or wherever. But we're seeing that cycle starting to flow now through that condo market and that mini home market. But we're still not seeing it as much in the single family, I find.
No, I haven't seen many downsize single family to single family. I've
Mm-mm.
seen quite a few joining, in-law suites being
Hmm.
searched
A
for
lot of
by
that. Yeah.
somebody, and then again, my client ended up moving in to the in-law suite. So they're helping with a mortgage somewhere else. There's no deal on the other side. They're just downsizing, or like I said, like their daughter's pregnant, or their daughter-in-law is pregnant, whatever, and they want to go help with the baby. They want it because the mother's going back to work soon, or like I've seen all of these situations, but I've also seen the situations where people are just like, I'm not in the province enough, or I spend more time at my cottage, or like, so they don't need a home. An apartment is more than fine for them. Like it's just it's a very different mindset when it comes to downsizing right now, but it's still something that I'm seeing where I feel like I didn't really see that much before. But again, that's an age thing. You also have the upsizers who are leaving those mini homes. They're leaving them because their family's grown. They need more space. And again, it's that fluctuation of, well, we're not going to get as much for our mini home, so we won't get as much for our house. But they will get the same, like the house will drop in price too. So as the mini home goes down in price, what they're purchasing goes down in price. So their affordability is actually still the same, at that same power. And I think it's about understanding it's not a bad thing if you're selling and buying, because it's happening across the board. It's not like it's just one style of home is doing this. It's not just one area that's doing this. It's
Yeah.
across the board right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And in taking all this in, Eric, because I think one of the big things is we are here for information for everybody who wants to listen to us talk. When it comes down to it, because like I said, we've both seen this happening as listing agents as well. So when that happens, like, how do you bring that information? Like when you've had nothing but looks nice, great home, love the area, but the price is too high. Like we're used to the price is too high, but when the market is agreeing with it, how do you bring that up to your clients? Like how do they receive it?
Yeah. I mean, everybody's a little different, obviously, personality wise, but I think the biggest thing is just being honest, blunt. And right now, people need that. I'm seeing too much of the two-faced say what they want to hear, right? You and I definitely, I have no bones to say to somebody, you are way overpriced. This is unrealistic, and the stats show it. But then when I'm actually sitting with my sellers and we're getting this feedback, it's even easier to have those conversations because I have another professional realtor telling me it,
Yeah.
right?
Many
Versus
probably.
and have many. The other issue, the lack of showings. You know, when the clients call you and say, "Why have I had no showings in 2 weeks?"
Yeah.
And we say, "It's your price." You know,
Yeah.
those are difficult conversations, but right now I think the public needs honest, blunt information. And they're not getting it from everybody, as we see and we're hearing. And we're
Yeah.
seeing in the stats. Like I said, like I could pull up Paragon right now, and I guarantee you we're recording this right now at 11 o'clock a.m. I guarantee there's at least 10 price reductions already today.
Yeah.
But
I
if
bet
we
you're
pull
right.
Paragon up right now, there's probably already at least 10 price reductions.
It has to be. There again, which is again not something we've seen. I've even known people to, after not getting offers and stuff like that, call in their own inspector, fix everything that's wrong, and increase their price.
Yeah, which is
And
ridiculous.
there have been times where that's worked. It's like, okay, let's take out anything that people might find wrong, and
Which I
let's get
understand, but
you
I mean,
more.
do
But
do a pre-inspection and
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
don't
Is
don't wait 2 months, get an offer, and then have that offer fall apart because of an inspection. If you
Yeah,
think you have issues or you know you have issues, get that pre-home inspection done, fix the things. I've done that many times, and that's
yeah.
saved my
And then list
clients
it at the right
so many
place right
headaches.
then. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had, and again, you hear, well, what are you doing about it? What can you do about it? Can you market it different? There's no amount of money with how much, like, because we don't sit down, we don't do nothing. We make sure we have it, like our stuff through other agents, asking them to share. We're sharing it. It's on all the different advertisement sites that are brokerage. Like, we're lucky to have a brokerage that shares it across
Yeah.
many different provinces, many
Yeah.
different areas. We do drone videos, we put them on YouTube, like we
All
have them up
platforms. Yeah.
everywhere, to the point where, again, open houses, agent tours, which again aren't what they were back when agent tours worked.
No. And
So to
and that I
have,
did actually have that conversation recently. Like people were, I have a listing, they're asking me to do an open house, and I'm like, no. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, if I was actually, and this was actually a listing presentation, I said, I will not do, I have personally not sat in an open house in 6 years. I said, if anything for that particular listing, because it was outside the city, it wasn't, high traffic area. I said, if anything, I will not host a public open house, but I would host an agent open house. Because the agents are the ones with the buyers. Open houses are for the nosy neighbors in your neighborhood, or the Sunday drivers taking a drive around the country, around the province, and see an open house sign. How many times have I had people stop in? Oh, I just saw the open house sign. I don't even live anywhere near here, but I wanted to see what a house looks like in this area.
yeah, you get both. I've known, I'm up to two people now who have bought from an open house. Never used me, like not
Yeah,
my
yeah.
person, but I've known two people, and that is the rare occasion. The
My
very
19
rarely does that happen.
19 years in this business, I've had one listing sell from the results of an open house.
Yeah,
One.
yeah,
I
yeah, and
pick up
that's it.
more in the past, I picked up more clients than an open house than I did selling that particular house I was sitting in, whether it was
Yeah,
my listing or
especially
another agent's listing. Like,
especially now where it is so well spelled out, the difference between represented and unrepresented, rather than client and customer, is if somebody goes in to your open house, they need to know you will not represent them. They like you might do the paperwork for them in the form of an unrepresented party, but to people I say beware of that, because you're going up against a professional who is not lying to you. They're telling you anything that you could get from realtor.ca, Viewpoint, like going to Explore HRM to find the zoning on your own. Like, they'll give you all that information, but they are not negotiating for you. They are not looking for your like your best interests. They don't have
yeah,
that in mind at all,
no,
because you are not their client.
yeah, that's right.
So
I mean, that's
it's,
a whole different topic we could get
yeah,
down. Right? We're not going
we
to get
have
into
done it
that one
already.
today.
Nope.
I mean, the
But like I
biggest
said,
thing,
I've done open houses, but I've done them after telling my client, I'll do it. I'll make sure one gets done. If I can't do it, you know, we've AO has done it for us before, but it hasn't done anything. I'm doing it more or less to make sure that my client feels I've taken every avenue, when really the avenue is the price. That's the only avenue that'll work.
yeah. So, I mean, we've been talking about this forever, but I mean, look, that's the biggest thing. So right now with our market, overpricing your home,
Mhm.
who's to blame? Who right now do you believe is to blame? Is it the realtor or is it the sellers?
I think at this point, I'm still a 50-50. I, I think there
Okay, be
are,
politically correct, Jim.
oh no, I am not being politically correct at all. I am happily blaming the people who do not give the information out. And equally on the other side, I am blaming the people who are ignoring the information that they are given by the professional they're expecting to work for them. And when they don't like it, they switch realtors they use, Luckily, I don't have that happen to me because people, they like our personal touch. They appreciate the bluntness and the pointing out and if they don't, they still, appreciate the relationship. But who will switch an agent, list it again for what they wanted, and then you still see them selling it for what the other person was trying to get them down to.
Hmm.
Like, it's not about your agent sometimes.
I'm gonna blame realtors.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I still,
I'm not gonna blame all realtors.
just in general. Yeah.
Just in general, like I said, and I mentioned earlier, there's a couple other realtors in our city that have posted posts about how, some realtors in this city, there's actually, what was it, 1%? No, I forget the actual stats. It was actually quite high that have not sold a single house this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that because they're what?
Yeah.
Is it because they're overpricing and now they're losing their listings because it sits there for 6 months, or 3 months, 4 months? And then that seller's like, well, you haven't done anything for me. I'm moving on. I think it's education, mentorship. I see it all the time. We see it all the
Yeah. And
time.
I do. And what's funny for me is a lot of the sales I do see, especially the ones from newer agents who had good mentorship. They are doing very well this year. So I can't say, oh, it's the new agents, because it's not.
No,
It isn't just new agents. It's the agents who aren't able to change with the
yes.
market,
There's
or the
so many
ones who
that
do
can't adapt.
whatever their clients say. Like, they
Yes.
don't give them the information, like you
They
said
have no
before, the
spine.
yes man. Yeah,
That
the
they are
yes man
the no
person is not
backbones.
helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And they
that's
just
what's
sit.
hurting right now, not just the market, sellers, but also the realtor reputation. Because it is, it's, yes, I mean, you and I probably were like that at our beginning of our lives in real estate too, but, we've got some tough skin now. We're not afraid to have those hard conversations. I mean, I still remember the one time I had a listing presentation and the guy chased me out because I would not give in to his price. He wanted a price 70,000 over what the black and white was telling me, the facts that I could show him. His comparable houses were this much price, and he
Yeah.
wanted to sell here. I got chased
Yeah.
out. I'm like, I'm fine. You can chase me out of here all you want because I'm not wasting my time.
Yeah. I've had, and it's really funny, people who have known me for a very long time, the parents of people who have known me for a very long time, and very polite, very cordial, like, still, offered me my drink. Like, we sat around talking. I showed them. They're like, so what would you list it for? I'm like, that's not on me. I'm like, I have the data here. I have the facts here. I understand you don't like it, but I would suggest, if I had to, this price range.
Yep.
Worst to worst, I am wrong and you get multiple offers. Because that's what
Yeah.
happens when you list too far below. Like, if you list below
And that's the
mark,
thing that our market still is greedy. Sorry to say it, we're all greedy. Every single one of us are greedy.
yeah, well,
But
people want what's best for themselves,
would
their
you rather,
families.
as
Yeah.
a seller, overprice and sit on the market for 2 to 3 months and have to reduce your price multiple times, or go say 5,000, 10,000 under what the correct suggested price, I should say, because it has to be the correct price, and then sell for 40,000 over because you just received 5 offers in less than a month?
Yeah.
The
I
market will
like,
always sell at the correct price.
yeah, the
But if
market
you
sells at
put
the
your
correct
house
price. Yeah.
$50,000 over the average, or the correct price for your house, you're not going to sell, and you're going to sit there, and then you're going to sell for lower than you should have to begin with, if you priced it
Yeah.
right to begin with.
And that's the thing, is I don't want to price above, but I also, like I said, even though it will fix itself and it'll sell itself, I don't want to price below, because at the same
No,
time, I'm looking out for my clients, having those people who can't afford the price they want or can't afford multiples coming to the door, having 15 viewings, 10 of them weren't needed, and my client lost that many hours at home. where a lot of
Exactly.
people still work at home, stuff like that. I'd rather price it right and know my client's bottom line and their top, like what they want, what they're willing to go down to. And as long as those two numbers are reasonable, I'm like, fine, price it at the high of what I think you should, like what the market is showing you should get. Price it at that high. Price it, you want to go 5,000 over, fine. You might end up with an extra $5,000 in your pocket at the end of the day, which is great. But you also might have to come down to where that bottom price you will accept is. But have those, and your bottom price needs to be within the market values. Don't
That's
make
right.
your bottom price the price you want. Don't list it at like 600,000 when it can only get 4. Nobody will ever look
Right.
at it.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that a lot with the higher end things. I went to 2 properties that were really high, like high end pricing, like person knows what they want and they can afford it. And they were it was night and day.
Hmm.
It was night and day. One place was so out of its ballpark
Yeah.
that it just didn't make sense. Like it was in no way comparable to this one that was priced properly.
Yeah.
It's just the person wanted that price.
Well, that's another. I mean, we're just maybe relooping, but that was another conversation. Another realtor that we know has been publishing recently was, they walked into a house in their mind it was worth, say I'll say say 450, but the listing agent was a different realtor actually had it listed 70,000, 80,000 above. So how can, in your mind, like why such a big difference between between prices of us professional realtors? You and I are 90, I'd say 90% of the time, you and I are on the same page. Like we're very close in what our pricing is.
Yeah, I
But
think the
it's,
most we've been is like $2,500, like
yeah, there was
3,000 at
one, yeah, I
most.
think there was
Yeah.
one we literally were 3,000 apart. What do you think? Like, what's going on? Like, why do you think two other realtors, or even you and I, we can walk into a house and say, no, this is worth X, and it's listed 70,000, 80,000 above what we think it should sell?
Mhm.
Why do you think we
I
have such a discrepancy?
Yeah. Again,
That's a that's a
it,
loaded question, I guess.
it comes back to exactly my 50-50 and your blame on one end. It's somebody's being unrealistic or the right information isn't in front of them. That is
Yeah.
why. It's also why back when I even before COVID, I was, if somebody want to say, "Oh, I want to offer 50 less." I'm like, that's a big number. Like, can you walk me through why that number based on what we've seen and what the market is? I have written 60 to 80 less, and there's no offense meant by it. And nobody takes offense to it. Well, generally, nobody takes
No.
offense to it because they list it knowing they'll get talked down 50. And
Right.
it's just like, why didn't you just put it wherever in the first place? And maybe we wouldn't have been the only offer.
Yeah.
Or maybe you wouldn't accept, even if you came down 50, if I thought it was 80, well, or like came down 60 and I thought it was 80. Maybe I'm wrong. And maybe I'm right, but you still get that extra $10,000, $15,000
Mhm.
rather than my people saying, no, 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 this is way out of whack. I'm going to offer what the market says. And then they take it in a panic when they could have got more.
Right. Well, I mean, I still have this example in my head that I keep going back to, and so last year I went on a listing presentation and I basically come up, I did my CMA, I did the competitive market analysis, all digital. I use our digital platform, make sure everything looks good. You have your average prices, you show all your photos. I went up against a realtor that was 3 years in the business. We had $150,000 price difference.
There's never a reason for that when you have stats.
I asked to see because I had inside, so I didn't go directly to the realtor, but I asked to see their CMA. Their CMA was literally printed off MLS cut sheets. No, nothing pretty about it. They literally just went into MLS system, said, okay, well, this property looks like it. Blah, 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 blah. Listing they used was a non-comparable. They used a listing that was in a totally different subdivision on the wholly different side of the city. And I looked
Just
at
taking
this
numbers.
and I was like, are you serious? This is horrible. Like you're a newer agent, you're young, and obviously you've not done any of your homework because you are literally 150,000 overpriced and using comparables that aren't even comparable to the property.
Yeah. And again, there are very few times where that would fly. And that's like the stats I brought up there, like Halifax, Annapolis Valley, like stuff, Dartmouth, is to watch, like to look what the market is doing. And if it's doing it all across the board, then sure, show places like that are doing it, but show that it's happening everywhere. Like again, when that right after COVID, like that the COVID market as we call it, like the 2021 purchase beginning, when that happened, the money was just being thrown. Like there was places going for like 300,000 over what they did the year before. And there was no way for us to gauge that because it was so all over the place that it was literally a pay your best, like put your best foot forward. That's all you can do.
I felt so bad. The worst part of a buyer's agent during that was our buyers are looking at us like, well, what should we offer?
And it's like,
We had no
you,
stats. We had nothing. We
no,
had nothing to go off of.
your best deal, unfortunately, as long as you can afford it and be
Right.
comfortable with raising property taxes after you buy it.
Which is horrible for a buyer, feeling as a buyer's agent.
Yeah. As it was horrible. Like the selling agents, I was great. You're always like, who knows what you'll get, but you'll get more than it was worth 10 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, as a buyer agent, I lost a lot of sleep over that time because I was glad the market like stabilized, as in started going up a normal percent year over year for that little bit, because I'm like, okay, that's just our prices now. But there had to be a point where that raise was stopping.
Right.
Because people can't afford the continual raise. And now that's what we're seeing is we hit that peak, we went a bit past it, and now we're coming back down.
Yeah. We're back to I had a mentor back in the day that they basically it was the weirdest way they did listing presentations and stuff, but they took the sale of the house. So say that seller bought in 2010. They took the sale of that house and then they added 1 to 2% annually, and that was their new listing price.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it works right now. I've done it.
Well, that's it.
I've done it
roll back
recently.
to 2024 and just add that 2%.
2% a year.
That's where we are.
I did that recently on a listing. I basically went in. I was like, I did my full CMA. Came into where I thought it would be, and then I just, as a joke, grabbed my calculator and I said, okay, well, they purchased it for X amount back then. I'm gonna do best case scenario 2% a year. Added boom, 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 boom. It came up to what my listing price was suggested to be.
Yep. Well, on that one, the one that we did for the Valley, that's what I took comparables and then I took the timeline. And that's what I did. And like I said, I was close to yours, and where you've done, like I go out to Windsor, like Windsor's no issue, but where you've done more on the outskirts
in the Valley,
I was just like, okay, it worked. Like I'm right. Wicked.
But it shows where our market is.
Yeah, it really does.
Back to almost the normal pre-pandemic price increasing.
Yeah.
You're looking
that's what
at
I think
an
people
average
need to take,
of 1
if
to
anything.
2. Yeah. If you do absolutely no renovations, no improvements to your house, you just move in, sit there, love it, enjoy it, take care of it, do the normal maintenance, you're going to increase right now by about 1 to 2% a year.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, if you go do some improvements, that will help.
Don't over improve.
But don't over improve. And
don't
overly individualize the home for yourself. Because we see that too. We've seen 3-bedroom homes or a 4-bedroom home turned into a 2-bedroom, or one huge master bedroom and this little tiny bedroom. Well, that's not going to help the next buyer if they're a small family, young family, first time family buyer. Like,
Or they have 2 bedrooms in the basement. They turned those 2 in and they made their master an ensuite. Like they turned it into a 1-floor bedroom essentially, but it's a 3-bedroom house. Well, that doesn't help people who have young kids. They don't want to have to go down 3 sets of stairs to get to their kids.
no, we've had that. I've had those conversations. So much is like, don't renovate for personal. You gotta have, you gotta
Yeah.
think long term, and
Unless
you
you're
gotta.
staying there forever.
And yeah, forever is
Like,
gonna come to an end at some point.
yeah, and at that point, it just becomes part of the estate. They sell it for whatever, turn it into cash, and call it a day. I tell my parents, like, good old Linda, who's been mentioned on this a few times, made a joke the other day. She's like, "So is my place like at $800,000 yet?" And I looked at her and I'm like, if anything, from before you did your renovations, you've either stayed equal or gone down. It's a beautiful home. The renovations were awesome, but you will never get your money back for those renovations because you put so much in that, yes, the price of building that house, you're right. That's how much it would have cost. But wrong neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, as like my dad, I've been telling him a price for a little while now, and yeah, I don't think he believed me. His neighbor just sold recently, and it got near the price I told him. He's like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, if you can take anything from it, anything from this at all, is take pre-pandemic, like take 2019, add at best 2% year over year, and
All right,
don't
so
over renovate your home.
yeah. All right, well, let's. I mean, we're going on. Well, we're
Yeah,
almost an
we
hour
killed it.
here.
Yeah,
One last question then for you. We'll finish this off with this one.
give her.
Should buyers wait till 2027 to purchase?
No, no. Well, they can, sure, if they want to. If they are just looking to sell their home because they're selling it, but they don't care what they get.
Yeah.
I think with the signs showing that it is going down, it all depends on their situation. But will prices go down? I think like I said, I think first time home buyers are going to be able to afford to come back into the market as buyers. If you want to sell your home, pay attention to your area. See how many listings are in your area specifically. It might be those times that you want to actually get it up and the times you don't want it, which are like, the winter during the school zone when there are so few places on market, because I do believe when there's less on the market, you'll get a better price. If you
Yes.
list at the same time as all of your neighbors, you're going into unneeded competition.
Yeah.
But if you need to sell, but price accordingly. Price to the fact that there are multiples exactly like yours up.
And that's it. If anything, we're going back to our normal trends. It's if you need to sell, price right, price and list at the right time. It might not benefit you, but as a seller, you can still negotiate your closing date. You can list in December, but not actually close till April if you want. That is in the cards. Everything
And
is
as
negotiable.
buyers can finally pick the house that suits them.
Yes.
If there's nothing up right now, yes, wait. If there's nothing you specifically want, that one that's right for you,
Yeah.
wait.
Because I mean, I'm not an economic major or a business or a banker, but I guarantee you, interest rates aren't moving. Buyers' interest rates are not going to go up in the next. Who knows? We've been on a hold. The Bank of Canada's been on a hold the last 3 announcements now. There's not showing any signs that interest rates are going to rise. So again, buyers are going to
They need more
benefit.
people in houses.
Buyers are going to benefit. Inventory, as we've said, has climbed, so they have more
I
options.
think they want to free up the apartments. I think
Yes.
for the trades that are coming in, for as more stuff happens here, both with the Canso like space pad as like launch pad, as well as the contracts we got for like all the different contracts we got, building contracts.
Eastern Passage is going to blow up here in the next 5 years
Yeah.
because of the submarine
So
base that they're putting in, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they want
Eastern
to free
Passage, if you want to live in
apartments.
Eastern Passage, you better get in the Eastern Passage market now, this year
Well,
or 2027. Because come past 2027, the Eastern Passage market, in my mind, is just going to increase because it's going to be more people coming here. There's going to want to be more people that want to live closer to that submarine base, that work on that submarine base, than have to travel from Halifax to Eastern Passage. So
yeah,
when you're looking at that too, Eastern Passage homeowners should be getting ready to sell because they're going to have a huge increase in their sale prices coming over the next 5 to 10 years, in my mind. Personal
yeah,
opinion. But
yeah,
again, when we're looking at those things, that's going to
and
affect the market.
yeah, and like I said, is I think just for the same reason, I think after seeing people who have done those contract jobs, they're only here for however long their contract term is. Some people are only here for like 4 years, some longer, but they're they're going for the apartments. They're bringing people in who just need apartments, and the only way to get people out of the apartments is to get them into houses.
Well, the federal government bought on Pleasant Street. They bought an apartment building. Like it's just finished this year. They bought the whole building of the influx of military personnel coming in.
Because we don't have bases anymore.
Right. Yeah, we don't have the PMQs. I mean, there is Shearwater does have some PMQs, but not
Not
to
what
the
they
amount
used
that
to
we
have.
used to. Like Shannon Park's
No.
gone, right? So that was
Uh-huh.
a huge PMQ, huge apartments and everything for the military, but that's all gone. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think those are the biggest
around,
things.
yeah, even in Eastern Passage, though, because that used to be not just the flight squadrons PMQs, they used to be all PMQs around the Canax and everything, and now those are just owned homes.
Yeah, I think you know, I think buyers have the upper hand, starting to move forward. You know,
Uh-huh.
again, personal opinion, professional opinion, whatever you want to call it, but my opinion, not my brokerage, not anybody else, but I don't
Well,
believe interest
mine.
rates are going to rise.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I guarantee inventory is going to continue to rise or stay,
yes.
we're at that 1,500 listings right now. 2 years ago we were at 1,000 listings on
Yeah.
average. That's a
Before that, we
huge
were
increase.
lower. Before that, we were
During the
lower.
pandemic,
Like,
we were at 800 listings across the province at times during the pandemic, which is ridiculous.
yeah.
But
And most of those were out of the city.
yeah, but I also think, people got to start looking at where these new major developments are, like you said. So like I said, Eastern Passage, that's something I live in Eastern Passage, so I hear about it. I hear about the complaints about the new apartments going up, the traffic increase that's going to happen in Eastern Passage, and the fact that Eastern Passage really only has three ways in and out. The traffic is going to be horrible come that time in 5 years from now when that base is fully functional and everything's running. There's old oil tanks that are going to get demolished here soon on Main Street. That's going to cause a huge amount of traffic because the trucks in and out, and they've already put things up saying like expect delays during this time because we have to get this out so that we can start building and developing. But yeah, I think buyers should really start hunting now. Even if they're thinking of buying in 2027, they should start looking now. Sellers, if you are a serious seller, if you need to sell, my biggest advice is price right.
Yep.
Unless you're willing to sit for 2 to 3 months.
That's it. And like that's it. I'm all about pricing right. My crystal ball is saying, of course, where there's new stuff coming in, there will be something. Like, you know what I mean? Like there will be prices going up where your places that need it. But at the same time, I don't see the prices, in my personal opinion, doing more than, like, if it goes up this year to next year by January, I don't see much more than a 1% increase.
No, that I've been going off that most of this year actually, average 1 to 2%, especially when I've been looking at listing prices and trying to help sellers determine if they should actually go to market now or wait.
Mm.
Again, sellers, I don't think you're not going to
I
have
don't
the
think waiting
advantage.
is smart right now.
I don't think you're going to get the upper hand. We're in the buyer's market. We talked about balanced early in the season, but we're definitely in a buyer's market based on stats, based on everything.
So welcome
And
to the buyer's market. We're
yeah,
the real estate team telling you this, even though you probably don't want to hear it.
many do not want to hear it, but
What can you do?
yeah, no,
What
it
can
is
you
what
do
it
when you live in a
is.
shoe?
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I know this is a little long-winded, but I think this was important for us to come out and kind of express some of these opinions and what we're seeing in our market right now, because not enough people, I do not feel that enough people in our profession and outside our profession, like even mortgage people, are talking about this right now. And the stats are there. We've seen it. We've been in
It's
this
scary
industry
when
long
you're trying to
enough.
get listings to have to know that, because a lot of people love the signs in a yard. That's what they want. They want their sign in a yard. They want the listing. And it's scary to have to go in and tell people that their home might not be worth in this market what they think it is.
That's right. No, no. It is definitely hard conversations, and it's hard to see that just look of disappointment on people's faces when we come in lower than what they think. But again, like we have the examples. Like I said, we did a listing presentation in April. They went on the market a couple months later, went high, and now guess what? They've been on the market for 2 months, and they're at the listing price that we originally suggested to them, and they
Back
still
then.
haven't sold. Yeah,
But
back
that's
then.
it, because that was back
Back
then.
then. Yeah, yeah, and they're still there. They're still sitting there. Unfortunate.
That is the way that this game works,
Eh,
unfortunately.
that is the way.
But
Where's that from? Mandalorian. This is
everybody's
the way.
good.
All right, let's leave it on that. No hot takes because this whole thing is a hot take today.
Whole hot take. There's a lot of controversial questions. There's a bunch
Yeah,
of finger pointing. I think this was the hot take.
I'm a finger pointer.
Hey, I just blame many people. I don't blame myself. I don't blame you. I don't blame agents who tell by the stats or tell people what they need to hear. Don't blame them. I don't blame the people who listen.
Yeah, but the people that listen, unless they dive into the market and the trends like you and I or some of these other people, they're going off what the professionals telling them. Fortunately, some professionals aren't qualified to actually be doing this. There's a hot take
Yeah.
for you.
Right. Look, I understand it. I feel it. Obviously, that was the whole structure of our team. Why this team was made. The real estate team, by the way, is we wanted to be people who gave real talk. We wanted to be people who speak what they believe is the honest truth and is what's best for everybody, not just our clients. Hence the podcast on top of it. The community game plans for everyone. We're not gatekeepers, and we're definitely not yes men. So
No, there. Well, if you want to come at us, please. But if not, if
I
you want to have a
dare
real
you.
conversation, yeah. If you want to if you're looking to sell, or you're looking to buy, or you're looking to invest, because there's actually, we didn't even touch on investment properties, but there's actually quite a few great investment properties out there. I can tell you that for sure. But yeah, if you want to have a conversation with us, want to have some, you know, dig at us, take a dig at us. Want to have a real conversation about trying to buy or sell in the current trends and the current market of what we're dealing with in HRM. Please feel free to reach out to us. We are the real estate team. I'm Eric Holman. This is Jim Smartin. And you can find us on all social media platforms. Just search either one of our names or the real estate team at EXP Realty. And make sure to give us a shout out, share, like, comment, come at us. Come at us in the
Likes,
comments. Come on,
shares.
please.
And ladies and gentlemen, Eric managed to do this with only stumbling on his words once. Yay!
I think I've been doing this for 2 years now.
Almost. Yeah.
Actually, it has been easier. But yeah, joining us. This is the Community Game Plan. Bada bing, bada ding, and we are out of here. Time to go sell some more houses because we had a busy month.
That,
Holy shit.
we have a very busy month.
Yeah. So again, Eric Holman, Jim
James
Smartin,
Martin.
the real estate team. We'll see you guys on the flip side. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
There. There you go. It was a
1 second. Jim Smartin. Hello. Hello.
Spam.
Hello.
Spam call.
Hello.
Spam call.
Hello. Hello.
Spam call.
I don't want to talk to you either. There's the clip for the end. I don't want to talk to you either.